Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Let's start our video with a story in which another new manager decided that the order that was before her is wrong and that she knows better. I think you've already guessed that our OP had a hard time, but in the end, all ended well. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. If you can't do it perfect, then don't do it. Okay. Backstory. I worked retail when I was younger. Like most people, it was a mixed bag, and some of my best and worst memories involve my time working in retail chains. I worked in footwear in a then blossoming sporting goods franchise and had a real knack for it. It was rewarding helping people find shoes in their sizes, and it's heartwarming at times, especially when people with disabilities showed up and really needed hands-on assistance with things, and that was a core value the company had at the time. My hiring supervisor, whose name isn't important, was amazing, and the staff was really cool too. We all liked and respected him a lot. But alas, like many good things, it came to a sudden and forceful end, and upper management decided change was in order and shifted the supervisors opening a spot in my department. That's when the new supervisor, henceforth known as Brandy, came in. Brandy was a transfer from another store 30 minutes away. The entire supervisor team knew and were not fond of her, but she filled a void, and the district manager and store manager were big fans of her for reasons unknown. We were warned that she was a woman of many faces and would tell you or promise you things you'd never get. I learned this about her fairly quickly, and before she even knew the staff, our strong suits, our schedules, or our names, she had a set list of things she wanted done and could not be deviated from. There was also word going around that she liked to make staffing changes and hire her own people when she came in. Morale died fairly quickly within the first week she was there. In short, she was a nightmare for almost the entire store. Now to the actual story. Brandy's first day was on a particularly busy summer day, and before I could even walk back to my section, I could hear her voice calling over the intercom constantly. Along the way, I was greeted by the morning staff who gave me a quick rundown of her and what she was like, then told me to have fun. Oh boy, I thought to myself. I found her in the back near the cleats and introduced myself. You have your tasks assigned to you already, and I want all of the displays finished in your areas before you leave today. I thought this was strange, because I had set the displays for those exact sections the night prior, all according to the franchise standards, firmly stuffed to look like a foot was in them, no visible laces shown, and even the laces changed to go inside the shoe so they didn't obstruct the view of the top of the shoe. They were signed off as completed by the lead on duty and even complimented. I was proud of my work. I went back to the sections I did the night before and looked them over for a few seconds, super confused. I shrugged it off and set to checking or at least restuffing a few to see if I'd missed something. Nope, nothing. But I continued on as I'd been instructed and did my job, and things seemed like they were going pretty smooth. Later on that afternoon, Brandy came back up to me and asked me when I was going to finish my displays, and I told her that I had. She looked at me and then back at my displays and made a look of disgust and said, "You're going to leave them like that?" "Like what?" I said back, confused. Nothing I did was ever really a problem in the past, and I really didn't want to upset her because I love my job and it was my first day with her. She scoffed and said, "Like this," and then grabbed a broken metal peg off a sock end cap and proceeded to jam as much paper as humanly possible into the shoe until it couldn't hold anymore. No lie, the shoe felt like someone had filled it with concrete, and the fabric even protruded on some shoes because of the pressure. It was not pretty or guideline. After watching how she did it, I just stood there dumbstruck because, again, this went against almost all of my training up to that point. Then she started in on me. No matter how hard I tried to give her what she wanted, but still meet the guideline I'd been trained for, she didn't like it, and would get me to do them again. This went on for a little bit. And then she effed up. After an agonizing amount of time, she grabbed a shoe from me and said, "No, do it perfect. If you can't do it perfect, then don't even try. Just leave it for someone else to do." Let me remind you, she had a full list of other things she wanted done, but she rang a bell I wasn't going to ignore. So instead of giving me another task, she gave me a loophole. I capitalized fully. After an emotional wrecking like the one she'd given me, I excitedly said, "Okay," and walked away to help customers. I left her there with the display still in her hand. She also said this within earshot of several other employees that were already sour with her. She didn't want me to try if I couldn't be perfect? Fine, that was exactly what I did. I did nothing on that list. For 4 months, I don't even remember anything it says on it. You might be wondering to yourself, how did you not get fired? Well, she tried several times. Anytime she would try to write me up, I would quote her exact words to her, the store supervisor, the leads, the district manager, and even someone in HR when they came to visit. Eventually, she was told to stop because her attempts could be viewed as retaliation, and that was a huge corporate no-no. I still provided excellent customer service and got rave reviews and compliments when customers went to check out, and the store manager and I got along really well, so they were hesitant to push too hard. A few months later, I changed departments and then met my now wife on a store setup trip and moved across the state. When she found out I was quitting, she pretended to be upset, but everyone knew she wanted me gone. She was gone within a year of me leaving. No clue why. Totally worth it. Thanks for the funny memories, Brandy. When are employers going to learn people don't quit jobs? They quit managers. And our second story. Was annoyed with neighbor until I benefited from his petty revenge. 7 p.m. last night, and my neighbor decides he's going to get out his backpack leaf blower and work on the leaves in his yard. It's dark, it had been drizzling earlier. WTF is he working on trying to blow wet leaves around? I was starting to get a little annoyed because I was trying to enjoy dinner while watching TV. That was until I heard a knock on my door. It was my neighbor asking me to move my car out of the street into the driveway for a minute, and in return, he'd blow all the leaves off my front lawn for me. This is when he tells me that his stepson was supposed to hand rake their leaves earlier that day before he left for work. Guess the kid mouthed off again. He makes the kid do yard work when he's in trouble. My neighbor gets home and sees that the leaves aren't done. PO'd, he grabs his leaf blower and proceeds to blow all the leaves from the yard into the street in the spot where his stepson parks his car in front of the house. He realizes that he doesn't have enough leaves. However, the tree in front of my yard decided to carpet my front lawn with leaves that day. This is when he knocks on my door. He got rid of the leaves on my front lawn and the leaves on my other neighbor's front lawn and added them to the pile in the street. He then had me move my car back to its original spot, which was on one end of the leaf pile, and parked his work truck on the other end of the leaf pile, all so his stepson would have to park down the block and do a walk of shame home. I thought this was going a whole different direction. And our last story. My dad's cousins think they already own my great-uncle's cottage. The only reason I decided to post this here is because I realized how entitled these people in my family are after hearing just how they've constantly been disrespecting my great-uncle. To explain the title, my great-uncle isn't shunned because of him being the entitled one, far from it. However, there's one thing that absolutely disgusts me more than the shunning. My great-uncle owns a cottage that holds value to the family. He stated that it would be split evenly amongst the children when he's gone, which is my dad, his brother, and their cousins. Thing is, the side shunning him have pretty much taken that as if they already own it and only them. Even one of the cousins who he's banned from the cottage for being problematic and disrespectful has been going there without respecting his demands. The last visit I had over there, she pulled up suddenly and told my dad that she wanted to look around. When my dad called her out and said she wasn't supposed to be there, she just said that she just wanted to see the lake and that she'll only be a minute. She was there for 45 minutes and even let herself inside the cottage, I think. The last visit I had over there was years ago, and from what I've been told, it's been completely taken over. Gone is all the vintage furniture owned by my great-uncle, which held sentimental value, and in their place was the furniture my dad's cousins wanted, without approval. They're treating my great-uncle like he's already dead. Nobody in his family, except for my dad and I, actually talk to him. They don't even send letters or emails. I talked to him yesterday to wish him happy holidays, and while he told me he greatly appreciated my call and how I've sent him letters, he sounded depressed. He said that I was the only one to wish him well the entire day. I'm certain my dad would have called as well if he were still in the country, but the fact that the cousins are so deluded into thinking that they already own his cottage and don't even care to take the time to wish him a happy holidays is disgusting. My great-uncle was originally going to sell it since he believed nobody cared about him. However, my dad was the only one to stand by him when the rest of the family was going after him for a controversy, so he was going to give the cottage to my dad. Unfortunately, we live too far away from it to go there on the regular, and it would end up as more bills for us, so he reluctantly ended up doing the current plan. As much as I love the cottage and have so many memories with it, I'd rather that he sell it so that these entitled people don't cause him any more pain. Or give it to my dad to sell. Any outcome to stop his cousins from disrespecting my great-uncle's wishes any longer. The sadness in his voice when I talked to him was like having a knife stabbed into my heart. And him watching as the cottage he worked hard for is being changed by his own family without them caring to ask him if it's okay, really must be torturous, especially with his own declining health piling on top of it all. It's just wrong. Update. He's going to give all of his stuff to a charity when he's gone. Nobody's getting any of it except for the people who need it. If he sold the cottage, chances are that the money would be going to the charity as well. Personally, I'm proud to call him my great-uncle after hearing about that. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.